On a quiet sandy beach, where the sun always shone, and the waves whispered secrets, lived a little crab named Crabby Carl. Carl was well known, but not for his sunny disposition. He was famous for snapping his claws at anyone who dared to come too close. He wasn't truly mean. Carl was just a very cautious crab, easily startled, and quick to feel annoyed by interruptions. His snappy behavior meant that most creatures on the beach kept a wide berth, leaving Carl to his solitary routines. One particularly warm afternoon, as the tide began to recede, Carl found himself in a precarious situation. He had ventured a little too far, exploring a new cluster of rocks, and now the water was disappearing fast. Suddenly, a small, oddly shaped rock shifted, and Carl's leg got wedged tightly between it and a larger, unmovable boulder. He wiggled and pulled, pushing with all his might, but the rock held him fast. Panic began to bubble inside his shell. The sun beat down, and Carl grew increasingly desperate, his usual snappy demeanor replaced by genuine fear. He tried again, straining every muscle, but it was no use. He was well and truly stuck. Just then, a shadow fell over him. A passing seagull, with bright white feathers and an inquisitive gaze, landed nearby. It was Sunny, a kind-hearted seagull known for her gentle nature and keen eyesight. Sunny tilted her head, observing Carl's struggle. "Do you need help?" she chirped, her voice surprisingly soft. Carl, embarrassed and vulnerable, hesitated. His usual instinct was to snap and shoo her away. But the pain and fear were overwhelming. He took a deep breath, and in a quiet voice muttered, "Yes, please." Sunny nodded, understandingly. Without a word, she carefully approached the trapped crab. Using her strong beak, Sunny gently nudged and lifted the smaller rock, just enough to create a gap. With a mighty heave, Carl wriggled with all his might, and to his immense relief, he pulled his leg free. He stumbled back, shaking out his relieved limb, and looked up at Sunny, astonished. Someone had helped him, despite his past rudeness. A wave of unfamiliar gratitude washed over Carl. He had expected a scolding, not such gentle assistance. Sunny, seeing Carl was safe, offered a warm smile. "You know," she said, "Jesus teaches us to treat others the way we want to be treated." She continued, "You needed kindness today, Carl, so I gave it. We all need kindness sometimes." Carl looked down at the sand, a strange soft feeling blossoming inside his usually hardened shell. Her words resonated deeply. He thought about all the times he had snapped and shooed others away, denying them the very kindness he had just received. From that day forward, something fundamental shifted within Crabby Carl. The fear and annoyance that had fueled his snapping began to fade. Whenever a tiny crab cried out for help, caught in a tide pool, Carl no longer turned away or snapped his claws. Instead, he would carefully guide them to safety, using his own strong claws to clear paths. When a slow-moving sea turtle lumbered across his path, Carl patiently waited, sometimes even sharing a delicious morsel of seaweed head found. He began to speak gently, offering advice and sharing his knowledge of the best tide pools and the safest spots. The other beach creatures, at first wary, slowly noticed the change in Carl. They saw his genuine efforts, his new willingness to help and be kind, and they started to call him by a new name. Crabby Carl was no more. He was now known throughout the quiet sandy beach as Kind Carl, the crab who learned to give what he wished to receive.